Imagine this: you meet someone who seems perfect. The connection feels deep, real, maybe even meant to be. You think this could be it, but months or maybe years down the line, it starts to crumble. You're left wondering what went wrong. Relationships today are complicated. Despite the fairy tale beginnings, studies show that nearly 90% of relationships end before reaching a lifetime commitment. It's a shocking number, and it raises some big questions. Why do so many relationships fail? Is it simply bad luck, or is there something deeper happening behind the scenes? In this video, we're uncovering the real reasons that cause most relationships to break down. You'll learn about the hidden pitfalls that lead to heartache, things that many of us never see coming. From high expectations to silent communication struggles, from changes in personal growth to the overwhelming pressures of life, we'll cover it all. And if you stick with us till the end, you'll find out the surprising habits and truths that can protect your relationship from falling into that 90%. So if you're curious about what truly holds people together and what pulls them apart, then keep watching. By understanding these patterns, you'll not only discover what causes most relationships to fail, but you'll also learn how to build a connection that lasts. Welcome to Limitless Infinity. If you're interested in videos that dig deep into the mind, relationships, and personal growth, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming up next. Let's talk about one of the biggest silent killers of relationships: unrealistic expectations. When we enter a relationship, it's easy to be swept away by the excitement. We imagine romance that's always thrilling, happiness that never fades, and a sense of fulfillment that just comes naturally. But here's the reality: these expectations, while tempting, are often set way too high. And when the initial spark fades, these fantasies can create a sense of letdown, even if nothing is really wrong. Many of us grow up on stories that paint love as magical and effortless. Movies, books, and even social media show us love that's intense and perfect. It's the romance that never has a dull moment, the couple that seems to read each other's minds, and partners who just get each other in every way. It's easy to assume that if a relationship is right, it will just work: no bumps, no hard days, no doubts. But real relationships are not like what we see on a screen. They come with ups and downs, times when effort feels like work, and moments where both people have to dig deep to stay connected. The issue is, when we hold on to these ideals, we set ourselves up for disappointment. If we expect a love story without challenges, we're left wondering if something is wrong the moment reality hits. And instead of seeing the natural ups and downs as part of a growing connection, we might start to believe that our partner isn't the one, or that our relationship is flawed. This cycle can push people apart, especially when they don't understand that real love requires real work. Then there's the constant comparison game. Social media plays a massive role here. We see photos of happy couples, grand gestures, surprise trips, and long romantic captions, and it's natural to wonder, why isn't my relationship like that? What we don't see, though, are the everyday struggles, the arguments, or the compromises that those couples are making behind the scenes. Comparing your relationship to what you see online can create doubts and insecurities where there don't need to be any. It's important to remember that every relationship is unique. The moments that look perfect on the outside may not tell the full story. Yet this pressure to live up to an image can make people feel as though their relationship isn't measuring up. And when both partners feel this way, it can create a sense of frustration that builds over time, sometimes leading to distance and even separation. Over time, people change. As we experience new things, face new challenges, and pursue different interests, personal growth is inevitable. In a relationship, this growth can be incredibly positive, bringing fresh perspectives and energy into the partnership. But when growth starts to happen in different directions, it can also create a quiet distance that's hard to ignore. Each person has their own journey, their own set of dreams, and their own values that continue to evolve. Sometimes these changes align perfectly with a partner's path, reinforcing the bond. But other times, one person may develop interests, values, or goals that don't quite match up with their partner's. It could be as simple as pursuing a new hobby, or as complex as a shift in life goals. When these changes aren't shared or understood, they can lead to feelings of disconnect, making each partner feel as if they're on different wavelengths. This mismatch in growth can create friction, especially if the relationship lacks a foundation of shared goals. Having common values and dreams can anchor a relationship, giving both people something to work toward together. When this isn't present, small differences can start to feel like larger gaps. For instance, if one partner becomes deeply focused on personal development, career success, or new beliefs, while the other remains more content with their current life, it can create an imbalance. The partner experiencing growth may feel held back, while the other might feel abandoned or left out. Without that shared sense of purpose or alignment, both people might start to wonder if they're truly compatible. The relationship might begin to feel more like two separate lives rather than one shared journey. And as this distance grows, the connection can weaken, leaving both partners feeling isolated even when they're together. Communication is the backbone of every relationship. Without it, even the strongest connections can start to fray. Open, honest communication isn't just a nice to have, it's essential. It allows partners to share their thoughts, feelings, and needs, creating a bond built on understanding and trust. But when communication breaks down, everything else in the relationship can start to feel uncertain. The problem is, many people assume their partner just knows what they're feeling or thinking. They hold back on expressing frustrations or desires, hoping that somehow their partner will figure it out. But people aren't mind readers, and when we leave things unsaid, we create room for misunderstandings. Over time, these unresolved feelings can build up, like pressure in a closed valve, and eventually that pressure has to be released. Often it comes out in arguments, passive-aggressive behavior, or even distance. This lack of clarity can also lead to assumptions, which are rarely accurate and often damaging. When communication is poor, it's easy to jump to conclusions, especially if one partner is feeling neglected or misunderstood. Simple misunderstandings can snowball, creating distrust or suspicion. For example, if someone feels their partner isn't paying attention, they might assume that their partner doesn't care, when in reality, it might just be a case of not expressing things clearly. These small misinterpretations can erode trust, leaving both partners feeling disconnected. Without open channels of communication, resentment can start to build. And resentment is like a slow poison in a relationship. It creeps in gradually, making each partner feel unheard or unappreciated, and it's often difficult to reverse. When issues aren't talked about, even small disagreements can seem like evidence of a larger problem. Instead of addressing things directly, people may start to withdraw emotionally, leading to an invisible wall between them. Over time, people change. As we experience new things, face new challenges, and pursue different interests, personal growth is inevitable. In a relationship, this growth can be incredibly positive, bringing fresh perspectives and energy into the partnership. But when growth starts to happen in different directions, it can also create a quiet distance that's hard to ignore. Each person has their own journey, their own set of dreams, and their own values that continue to evolve. Sometimes these changes align perfectly with a partner's path, reinforcing the bond. But other times, one person may develop interests, values, or goals that don't quite match up with their partner's. It could be as simple as pursuing a new hobby or as complex as a shift in life goals. When these changes aren't shared or understood, they can lead to feelings of disconnect, making each partner feel as if they're on different wavelengths. This mismatch in growth can create friction, especially if the relationship lacks a foundation of shared goals. Having common values and dreams can anchor a relationship, giving both people something to work toward together. When this isn't present, small differences can start to feel like larger gaps. For instance, if one partner becomes deeply focused on personal development, career success, or new beliefs, while the other remains more content with their current life, it can create an imbalance. The partner experiencing growth may feel held back, while the other might feel abandoned or left out. Without that shared sense of purpose or alignment, both people might start to wonder if they're truly compatible. The relationship might begin to feel more like two separate lives rather than one shared journey. And as this distance grows, the connection can weaken, leaving both partners feeling isolated even when they're together. In many relationships, it's easy to fall into the habit of relying on a partner for happiness or self-worth. This can feel natural at first, especially when everything seems new and exciting. But over time, depending on someone else for your own sense of value or joy can lead to unexpected consequences. When a person's entire world starts to revolve around their partner, they risk losing a crucial part of themselves, their independence. Maintaining a sense of self outside the relationship is vital. Having your own hobbies, interests, and friendships provides a sense of balance and keeps you connected to who you are as an individual. These things bring variety and fulfillment that can't come solely from a partner, no matter how strong the relationship is. When someone lets go of their personal interests, they may feel a subtle but growing resentment, as if they've given up part of their own identity for the sake of the relationship. And over time, that sense of loss can cause friction. Neglecting self-care and independence can also lead to an unhealthy dependency. When one partner leans too heavily on the other to meet all their needs, it can create a weight that feels difficult to bear. The relationship becomes less about two people sharing their lives and more about one person shouldering the emotional load. This kind of dependency isn't just hard on the relationship, it can also lead to burnout, frustration, and a sense of imbalance that's hard to repair. Keeping a sense of independence allows each person to bring their best, most complete self into the relationship. It prevents the relationship from feeling suffocating and keeps both partners free to grow in ways that strengthen, rather than weaken, the bond between them. External pressures can weigh heavily on any relationship. Life brings a constant stream of challenges, from work obligations to family dynamics, and these outside factors can create tension even in the closest partnerships. One of the biggest stressors is finances. Money issues can add a layer of pressure that often magnifies other problems, even those that might have seemed minor before. When financial stress hits, it can make the entire relationship feel unstable, as if every decision has added weight. Couples who struggle to manage these pressures often find themselves facing regular conflict. Small disagreements that might have been brushed off in less stressful times can suddenly feel overwhelming. A conversation about a simple household expense can turn into a heated argument, not because of the cost itself, but because of the anxiety it represents. Financial strain has a way of amplifying emotions, creating frustration, resentment, or even insecurity within the relationship. Beyond money, social pressures and expectations from family or society can also create strain. Family obligations, expectations to live a certain way, or even cultural pressures can add layers of responsibility that one or both partners may feel compelled to carry. When these pressures aren't addressed or managed together, they can drive a wedge between two people, making them feel as if they're constantly battling external forces rather than working as a team. It's not the pressures themselves, but the way they create distance and conflict that often leads to cracks in the foundation of the relationship. So to wrap up, let's quickly revisit the main reasons why so many relationships struggle. Unrealistic expectations set us up for disappointment when reality doesn't match the fantasy. Poor communication leaves too much unsaid, creating misunderstandings that grow over time. Personal growth, when it happens in different directions, can leave partners feeling like strangers. Neglecting self-care and independence can lead to dependency and resentment, while external pressures like finances and family obligations add stress that can amplify every little issue. But here's the good news: understanding these challenges is the first step toward building stronger, more resilient relationships. By recognizing these common pitfalls, you can approach your relationships with more awareness and patience, working through obstacles as a team. Remember, no relationship is perfect, but with the right mindset and effort, lasting, fulfilling love is possible. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Limitless Infinity for more insights on building a life and relationships that thrive. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.